go. All right, so you want to create a folder called Digital Breakout. So I just click New Folder, Digital Breakouts. And then I click Create. And then in that folder, you create your games by creating another folder. So I'm just going to call this one NH Summit. So new folder, NH Summit. You would name it whatever your digital breakout name is going to be. So I go into that folder, and now I start creating what I need to create. And so I need to create my locks. So in order to do that, I click New, More, and Google Forms. So once again, I created a folder for my game. I click New, More, and then Google Forms. I'm going to title this NH Summit. NH Summit Digilocks. You would name it whatever your game is called, or you can just call it Digital Locks. All right. So the first question, what kind of lock would you like to make? You want to do a number lock? Do you want to do a word lock? You want to do a directional lock? What kind of locks?
Can you do an alphanumeric with letters and numbers?
Yes.
Wait, lock choices are?
Well, it's basically the sky's the limit. You can do word lock. You can do number lock. You can do both. You can do a greater than lock, like a number greater than. You can do a less. You can do pretty much anything you want. Let's do a directional lock because I'm going to show you how to do a description as well. So I'm going to call this directional lock. Now notice the moment I type in directional lock, it removes multiple choice and gives me short answer because that's what we want. So it automatically changes it from multiple choice to short answer. But we all know there's tons of different kinds of directions. There's north, east, south, west. There's up, down, left, right. So that's where you want to give your students a description of what kind of directions you are looking for. So in order to do that, you come down here to the little 3 dots, call those the snowmen. Okay, so you go down to those little 3 dots and you click on description. You want to give this lock a description. Just think of this as, instructions for your students. So I click description. So do we want to do north, east, south, west locks, or do we want to do up, down, left, right locks?
North, east, south.
Okay, so I'm going to go in, capital N equals north, capital E equals east, capital S equals south, and capital W equals west. So now our kids have directions of if I give you a north, it's capital N. If I give you an east, it's capital E. So that's what that direction is for. Once again, how did I get to the directions? I went down to the snowman down here. I clicked on it and clicked on description. That gives me that chance to type in those little directions for your students. Now here's the big kicker. If you leave it as is, the kids can put whatever they want and move on to the next question. They'll get it right because we didn't give them an answer that they have to type in. In order to make this a lock, we have to click on the snowman one more time right down here in the bottom corner and select response validation. That means the form is going to look at their answer and it has to match what you've put in here. Otherwise, it won't unlock it. So instead of a number, it's text. Instead of a number, it's text. And it must contain your answer. Okay? Notice they don't have an exact, like text must be exact. And this must be a contain one, which is important when we get to digital scavenger hunts. And I'll show you why when we get there. So down here, I'm just going to type in what the answer would be. So it's going to be north, north, east, east, south, west. So let's say that's what the answer is. Yes.
Should you have your artifacts and have planned it?
Yes. So this is, yeah, this is the,
hypothetical.
correct. So this is like if we've already planned out the lesson, we've already come up with our clues, and we already have the locks in place. Now we're creating the locks. If we just leave it here, let me show you what happens. So I'm going to click on preview. So you give this to your kids. Now they're doing the directional locks. You go, oh, I did the answer validation. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Look what happens. It gives them, oh, it must contain this. It gives them the answer, right? You're like, that's not going to work. So what you need to do, I'm going to leave that. What you need to do is give them a custom error text, something that comes up if they're wrong. Something like, it's still locked, or keep on trying, keep on believing, don't give up, right? Something inspirational. Denied. No soup for you, right? So you give them a custom error text. So I'm just going to put still locked, STILL, still locked. So now when I do this, if I show you what it is, and I start typing my stuff in, now it doesn't give me the answer. It just says still locked. So they have to type it in absolutely correct in order to move on. Except there's one more thing we have to do. So these are all these little caveats that we have to do in order to make it work. Notice the submit button or the next button is still blue. We don't want that. We don't want them to be able to move ahead. So we have to do one more thing, and that is make this question required. By making it required, they now have to get it correct before it allows them to move on. Any questions on this so far? Now, if we look back to the 80s one, the stuck in the 80s, notice all of these locks are fair game for anybody at any time. Right? They can do this one first, this one second, this one third. They get the choice. When they find the answer, they try the lock, which works out well if you want the whole class to be working on it at the same time. But if you want them to go step by step, let me show you. So once again, let's say, title this, there we go. If I don't care, if I want it to look like the stuck in the 80s one where all of them are done, all I do is click the plus button. If I click the plus button, then I can call this a 3-digit lock. See, 3-digit lock. I come down here to my snowman. I type response validation. This is a number lock now. I don't want it to be greater than. I don't want it to be less than. I want it to be equal to. That's what that is right there, equal to. So I come down here. I want it to be equal to 559. Let's say that's the answer. I still have to make sure I give them that custom error text, still locked. I want to make sure I make this required. But notice now if I look at it, the locks are stacked on top of each other, lock and lock. I want to make it where they can only see one lock at a time. One lock at a time. And to do that, after your lock, you have to hit the section button. If you hit the section button, it'll create different sections so that they can't see a lock until they beat the lock. Then it'll allow them to click next. So now you're kind of guiding them in the direction that you want them to go. So let me show you what this looks like. So I'll stop right there for a second. Any questions?
If anyone needs help with the form, I will come and help you on this topic.
Yeah, and remember, this is your session. So asking me to repeat something or asking me to go over it again, that's completely what needs to happen. You need to this is your session, right? So once again, if I leave it like this, the locks will be found on the same page. If I want to make sure that they have to do one lock before they move on to another, then I need to include that. So look, see how it split it now? And now I have a new page. You don't need to title the section because it's still our digital locks. So this section, I'm just going to delete the title. Now when I go to preview, watch. Now the lock is all by itself. Does anybody remember our 3-digit combo?
5.
559. That's my area code. Right there. That's the answer. So now I can hit next. Now it takes me to the directional lock, right? Which was north, north, east, east, southwest. North, north, east, east. Whoops. Now it's unlocked.
So that's a good way to scaffold learning.
Absolutely. So it's completely up to you. Do you want all the locks to be available for anybody to unlock at any time? Or do you want them, before you do move to this one, you have to get this clue done? Completely up to you. So what I want to give you now is some time to make some locks, to come up with some different ways of making them, to create your different sections, so that if you get stuck or you forget, I'm here to help put those together. Any questions before we give you that 5 minutes to go over some things? Okay. Or if you have any questions on how I use this in class or anything at all, please, please, please let me know. So a lot of times this is something brand new to try in our classrooms. Yes?
Just a question. How can you default so that everything's required?
So there is a add-on to this, and it's just called all questions, all required. So that's a great question. We actually do all of our quizzes in Google Forms, and we've actually done a actual 40-question assessment using Google Forms. And when somebody makes a Google Form, somebody always forgets to mark something as required. They always forget. So there's a neat little add-on, which is this little puzzle piece. And if you don't see that puzzle piece, then under this snowman right up here, you click on add-ons, and it will start adding these little things right here. So if I click on add-ons, these are like apps within the app. And you look for one that's called all questions required.
You can do this in preferences now, so they've updated for
Oh, they've updated it, so you can just click on all required?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's even better. That must have been last week when they did the updates.
Probably.
So maybe they even removed it because now they've added it in.
Yeah, if you click on the Oreos and then preferences. Yeah, it's weird. It's not in the gear. It's under preferences.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, make all questions required.
Oh, default quiz point value? I didn't know that was there either.
So that's even easier than doing your add-ons. But you think there'd be just a quick little here and there, but you know, at least it's there. No, so you don't title any section. So with section 1, you title digital lock, but after that, just delete, and it'll give you a.
So, we put the answer there, and then your error message goes right. So if you want to split this into sections, because you split them out, so you've done
No, just that one. But for each question, you can do that, or we said click on this, go down to preferences, and then check make all questions. And then you will have to do that.
Oh, and it'll automatically slide it over.
They'll automatically have that as your default.
Thank you.
And remember, when you do your sections, all you do is click those lines right down here to split. You don't have to give every section a title. I just delete the title because then it'll just default back to the normal title all the way down. It'll just save right up in the corner.
Choose where you want it to go to after that.
Correct. Yeah. So this is the answer delimited one. So like if you wanted to really differentiate where this you don't want it to be linear, you can send them. You can skip section 2 and go to section 3. So yeah, we do that for scavenger hunts and We do that for differentiation. So like if they get, if we do multiple choice and they get the answer wrong, it'll send them to an easier question. And then they can answer that. And if they get it right, then it'll start sending them to harder questions. It takes a little bit of time to create that web, but it really helps. It's correct.
Are there any libraries?
And you could make your own adventure stories. Write a paragraph. If you want them to go left, click here. If you want them to go right, click here. And it takes them to a different part of the story.
You see like this and have music along like this, but have them do the orientation.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, go to different places. Yeah.
Do you have to purchase like breakout if you want your like
No, it's 100% free. The only thing you'd have to purchase is the kits if you want to. There's Pinterest sites, there's Facebook sites that you can go to of people that are already making these things, and you can take and make. Correct, that's their company site. Yes.
So she just has to purchase the box. Because they did a breakout room up in Maine this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So Michelle was like,
And this, I just got reminded of this. Let's say that none of the digital breakouts in the Breakout EDU, you don't like any of them. Like they don't fit my needs. Well, there's a whole bunch of physical breakouts that are pre-made that you can turn into a digital one. All the clues are there. All the different things you would need were there. You just have to digitally create the artifacts. And so if you actually go to games.breakoutedu.com, I put that link in our today's meet right here, games.breakoutedu.com. All these games are free. So let me hit reload. It's the internet is not showing. So let's go down. There we go. So all these games are free, but let's say I want to do the breakout attack of the locks. It asks for a password. This password isn't something you purchase or anything. They put a password there because they know our kids are smart. And if they're doing a breakout in class, they're going to go to Breakout EDU, click on the game, and find all the answers. So the reason they have this password here is to make sure the students don't have it. But you can have it. It's just show your work. All one word, all lowercase. So you can grab any game, go in there, type show your work, and it will give you.
What'd you click on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I went to the games.breakoutedu.com. I found the game that I wanted to play. I clicked on it. It gave me the password, and then the password is just show your work. And it tells you who designed the game, what area this fits in. It gives you the story that you can copy and paste into your own Google site game. It gives you the lock clues and the kind of lock it should be and the order that it's in, so you can create your digital locks based upon all of this already. And then it tells you how to set up your artifacts. So this is meant to be a physical game where you have the actual kit, you have the actual locks. But it's super easy now to convert these into a digital Breakout EDU with your artifacts and your digital locks that I've already given you. So if you don't want to start from scratch and something does look interesting to you that you can show your kids, this is a great way of doing that. So instead of starting the game from zero, you now have a great jumping off point right there. But once again, the whole point of this is to get your students to be the creators of the content, and not just you.
I like the staff one.
No, we do this with our staff quite a bit. My wife even took our breakout kit and went to she does fundraising for our local children's hospital. And so for her group, during one of their meetings, her whole meeting was a breakout to get them to work together and stuff. And so then she tweeted out, we did breakout, but she has a lockdown Twitter account. So Breakout EDU can't see that because you locked down your Twitter account.
Oh, I know. Oh, all right, so I was still trying to. Yeah, right, okay, I get you. Yeah.
What's missing here? Good. Who am I?
Now, if you've ever heard of app smashing, anybody heard of app smashing before? Taking multiple different apps, putting them together to make a cohesive lesson. This is app smashing, right? The creating of the digital breakout is using multiple apps to complete a singular assignment. So, I mean, it's tell your kids, we're going to app smash today. And they're like, ooh, that sounds like fun, right? And it is, because you're creating all these different things. I want to show you another way to do a breakout, but in terms of a scavenger hunt, right? Traditional scavenger hunts are, you have clues hiding around campus or town, and you get to the clue, and it gives you a link to the next clue. You can do that digitally with Google Forms and a service called My Maps from Google. Anybody ever use My Maps? Got a couple? My Maps is like you can take, Google Earth and make it your own. So I want to post a link in our today's meet of a scavenger hunt I created for my 7th grade teachers on it's called the Disney Historical Scavenger Hunt, because every Disney movie actually links to a lot of the 7th grade cultures our kids are learning about. And so they have to talk about the movie, the characters, and how it relates to what they've learned throughout the year. In it asks them to create a Google slide presentation, but you guys don't have to do that. I want you to try and go through this scavenger hunt and answer the questions by clicking on the links. And the first person to get through it gets a prize. Just your group name is just like something funny you come up with. You can work individually or you can work with a team. Oh, so it's NH Summit. Oh, so you're actually creating? Yeah, this is you creating a room? You are, you're creating. So just here, type in NH Summit. You just type in your first name and you have access to all the links.
Should I be a slide?
No, for this one, just go through and answer the questions. But I do have my kids make the slides. Yes, what's the name of the movie? So the clue is the link. And so here's all your clues. And so there's the name of here's the girl. So move on. Now notice the instructions have a whole bunch of stuff I want my kids to put on a slide presentation, but you don't have to make a slide presentation. But once you finish the scavenger hunt, it does give you a task you have to do in order to win.
Yeah, I say you're like. Yes, they're.
It's like that, but it's directly related to
Oh.
Thank you for not making it.
Oh.
Or not.
Oh, thank you. Are there specific jobs or like, you know, like you're studying trees or weeds?
What was the first one?
Anything you want.
Right.
Done.
Wait, you're not done because it tells me something to do. There you go. It's fun. We did this at a summit in Georgia last week, and out of nowhere, a girl in the back just jumps up and starts bellowing, "A whole new!" It's hilarious.
Oh, did she win?
She won, yeah.
I don't know. I know.
Like we did Disney, I was like, that's fine, but I'm well. And they were like, no, you won't.
We'll do a second place. We'll do a second place prize too. Go ahead.
They already solved it off.
Now,
I think some parents of small children right now have an advantage.
Right.
No,
Doesn't matter, no excuses.
But I didn't know all the.
no, you can't. Yeah, kids always ask, "Can we Google?"
I'm like,
You can use anything that
I'm
you
learning
have.
a lot as I Google.
And if you type in the wrong, like if you made this and your kids type in the right thing but it's wrong, they will let you know. Like I thought the monkey from Aladdin was Apu, but that's a guy from The Simpsons. So they made sure I knew that.
But there's a lot of.
So I actually shared this entire folder with you so that you can see how I made this. But I want to show you how I made it. But I want to. You can see the mind maps that are in there. But let's look under the hood. So notice, this looks exactly like a digital breakout. I asked the question, what is the name of the movie? I made sure that I selected the response validation. And then I made sure the text contains Mulan. Here's the reason you want to choose contains. What's that?
Someone said Famulan on your answer.
Famulan?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, see? Somebody could have said, somebody who knows me, they need to restate the question in their answer. So some kids may say, the name of the movie is Mulan, right? And you don't want that kid to be marked wrong. So as long as the answer contains the word Mulan, they can move on forward. Okay, so that's why we want to make sure when we do a scavenger hunt, it's text contains, and then the name. Text contains. And then once again, don't forget to put down your personal error message. Sorry, try again. Otherwise, it'll say, text must contain Mulan. Now, I also put in links to the My Maps. And so all you have to do for the My Maps, once again, you have a folder for all your scavenger hunts. I have an Italy scavenger hunt that relates to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, to the Renaissance, all the way, and the ending is they have to sing the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle song. Then the Disney one right here. But in here, I have the My Maps all the way down. And a My Map can be created right in the folder. All you do is click on New. more Google My Maps. Right there. And so if I click on that, it gives me this screen right here. So it's not in the form yet. We're going to grab the link and put it in the form. But it gives me on my map that all I have to do is type in the place that I want to put my clue. So let's say I want to put my clue in. Somebody give me a place. Washington, D.C. It'll take me right there. It'll take me right there. And then notice I added pictures and text. You can do the same thing. If you add it to your My Map, you can add a picture by Google search. Let's put down so there he is. And then I can put text underneath. So they use this as their clue. You type in your questions you want them to answer right here. And then all you have to do, once you've typed in all your questions, and you've titled this one clue number 1 or clue number 2. All you do is click the share link and then grab this link. That's it. Notice it's can view. You don't want the kids to be able to edit your My Map. But that all I do is copy that, and that's what I paste right here.
So when you had the kids answering the questions from the My Maps, did you have them doing that in like a Google Doc?
A Google slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't have you do that because that could take a while, right? But my students, when they do this, they have to work collaboratively on a single Google Doc that they all have to share with each other. So we're training them how to collaborate, how to share, how to use all the things with Google Docs. And they have to answer the questions exactly. And then they have to present when they're done. And that's how they win. So if they sing the Disney song, they don't get the prize yet. They have to present their slide presentation. And guess who grades them? Each other. Because they don't want them to win. So if they don't follow the instructions exactly, they will call them, you didn't put a picture. He told you every slide has to have a picture. You don't have a picture, you lose. They will, right? They will just grade each other because once again, you put a competition in this kind of form, they will find any tiny minute thing to make sure that the other team doesn't win and their team has a better chance. Yes.
So we just learned, thank you very much, that there's hints on the side. We were just using the map.
Yes.
So is that, how would you add those hints in on the side? Is that off of the? Yeah.
So where are you putting the hints?
She's talking about the actual spot. When you click on where you put it on the map.
Like right here?
Yeah.
So we didn't click on that. There's something over on the left-hand side.
Oh.
It's like a scavenger hunt clue. We thought the map was the only clue. We didn't realize there were more clues.
So you're talking about right here? Whoops.
Oh, it comes up to you. Yeah, so how do you add those clues to the map?
It should be when you add the place, it gives you a description.
And then you add the image and you type in the description.
Yeah, so you're talking about these right here?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that automatically creates that for you?
And then you added what you want. So you can put an image in there and you can put a description.
Correct.
Yeah. Got it, okay.
Yeah, and you can put multiple tabs on the same map for multiple clues for multiple things. Like if I wanted to put something here, I grab this little pin icon and just put it here. The pin icon's right here next to the little hand. And you can now put another thing. You call that clue number 2.
And this is just in Google Maps.
Yep, My Maps. Google My Maps.
Also, while Joe's got that up at the top, like if you wanted a specific location, you can put that in the search. It'll bring you down, and then you click on save. It'll do the same thing.
Absolutely.
If you're not sure like where it is, you can say I want exactly at the Eiffel Tower.
So if you want it like in his case, he's in Washington. If you wanted it to be somewhere specific in there, you start to type in that specific tourist attraction or monument or whatever, and it pops up and then it plays it.
Yeah, see, so I typed in Lincoln Memorial, and then boom, it pops up. I click on it, and boom, it places the map right on the Lincoln Memorial.
I'm sorry, but it's gonna look like, so once you do all that, you add an image and you add a description stuff. Then you just copy and paste your URL.
Yep, so what,
And it keeps the image and it keeps the description.
Correct.
Created something.
Mhm. It'll create the description, and all you have to do is click on the share button. You click on the share button, and you grab the link.
You have to change it.
Oh, it pops it up for you automatically, that's cool. And then that you drop into your Google Form.
Correct.
Where it says click on the below link. Okay, it's coming full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and this is just one way you can do it. You can push them to a YouTube video.
Okay.
You can push them to anything you want. Artifacts. You can push them to any artifact you want in order for them to answer a question in your Google form in order to move forward.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah. Oh, nope, it's not. No max ones by you.
Yeah, right. I just sent a note to you.
Oh, good idea. I thought we could do Google Earth.
Google Earth and my map are two different Google apps.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, did you email Jason? That would be awesome, because I would love to use this. You know me, I want to.
Oh, you know why I have access to it?
Because you're
Ah.
fresh.
But yeah, it should be something.
Alright, that would be awesome.
And if you're in math or you're in geography or anything, you can add things. You can add tasks to this as the answer, right? So like one of the questions on the form could be, how far is Arlington away from the Lincoln Monument? Well, here's Arlington. I put a tab there. Here's the Lincoln Monument because I put a tab there. And so all the kids have to do is grab the ruler and walk it over, and it tells you 5.4 miles, right? And so, they have to be kind of precise with this, but you can always say, greater than 4 miles. As long as they have me an answer greater than 4 miles, then it'll let them move on to the next clue. So you can have them do tasks within the map in order to move ahead. Yes?
So, are there like written instructions somewhere that will walk me through step by step to remember how to do this? Because
So,
I've never done
yeah, so everything we've done, I'm recording everything that we're doing right now. Every single thing that I'm showing on the screen, and my microphone is picking up my voice pretty clearly. Everything that we've done, you can relive the memories. You go home, pop some popcorn, put your feet up on the couch, and make some of these things. Yeah.
I didn't say that, somebody else did, just recording it, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's okay. So whenever I do something like this, I always like to end about 10 minutes early so that you can play around with it, so you can try and make these things. And if you get stuck or forget, I'm here to unstick you, to get you out of that stuckness. So it is 2:06. I think this ends at 2:15. So there's 9 minutes that you can, play around, try things. And also if you got it, you're like, I got this, or I'm going to watch a video later tonight because that's what I have planned already, right? You can move on to the next session that you want to do.
And did you already give the website? Sometimes I'm thinking ahead of.
Sure, which website?
To be able to access your.
Oh, yeah. So, in fact, right now, what I'll do is I will actually end the recording. So let me do that. So here's my Hangout. Everybody say bye.
Bye.